Now the 3, we are solving a question on molecular formula. A question on molecular formula. Now, what is about molecular formula? Basically, we have empirical formula and molecular formula. What's empirical formula and what molecular formula? Empirical formula is the simplest ratio of determining the unknown of the compound. That means they deal with simplest ratio. When it comes to molecular formula is simply the actual number of atoms found in an unknown compound. Actual number. So let's delve into it and see how we can solve a question like this. Coming to our question, we are given that a compound contains 40% carbon, so the amount of carbon is 40%, and 6.7% hydrogen. The percentage of hydrogen is 6.7%, and 53.3% oxygen. So our oxygen is given as 53.3%. And we are told that if the molecular mass of the compound is 180, that means the RMM of that compound is given to be 180, and we have to find its molecular formula, which is the actual number of atoms that are present in an unknown compound. So how do we solve this? Firstly, we first solve it by making use of the empirical formula. And how does that work? The way the empirical formula works is that you first divide each of the atoms by their atomic mass. For instance, carbon. The atomic mass of carbon is 12. We are going to divide it by 40. Hydrogen, the atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. We are going to divide it by 6.1. Likewise, oxygen, the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. We are going to divide that by 16. I believe with the help of calculator, we can get that. So let's do that. Okay, so with our calculator, we have that 40 divided by 12, that's 3.33, so here's 3.333. While when you divide 6.7 by 1, we are still going to end up having 6.7. And when you divide 53.3 by 16, okay, 53.3 divided by 16 gives us 3.3331. So we have it as 3.331. So the next thing to do is to divide it by the smallest number. Dividing that by the smallest number is using 3.331. So when I divide each of the number by 3.331, 3.331, and 3.331, I'm going to have my answer to be at this side, okay? 3.333 divided by 3.331, that's approximately 1. So when you divide by this also, approximately 2. And when you divide by this also, approximately 1. So therefore, the empirical formula, which is EM, empirical formula, will be C1H2O1. So this is the empirical formula. But the question says we should get the molecular formula. And how can we get the molecular formula? For us to get the molecular formula is by comparing it to the number of mass from the compound. Remember we said RMM is equals to 180 gram per mole of the no compound. So I will say that CH2O in the bracket of N equals to 180. My goal is to get the value of N. And to get the value of N, I need to calculate the relative molecular mass of this compound. So here is 12 plus 1 times 2 plus 16 in the bracket of n equals to 180. So what will I have? I have it here. I have it as 12 plus 2 plus 16 in the bracket of n equals to 180. At the end of the day, we have it as 30n equals to 180. Divide each of them by 30. So we cancel out. Our n is left at 6. Now we go back to our empirical formula. Coming back to our empirical formula, we had it as C1 H2O1. So for us to get our molecular formula, will now be CH2O in the bracket of n. So our n is equal to 6. We are going to multiply each of the compound by 6. So the molecular formula, which is MF, is C6H12O6. This is how we get the molecular formula. Let's look at our option, whether we have the right answer. So coming down to our option, the right answer stands as option D. Option D stands as the right answer, even though it's a bit blurred. What I'm trying to write is C6H12O6.